yeah, let's get into that too. So this is, I want to do a very abbreviated version, quick version of from zero to validator. So if you're interested in validators, go realdefi.com, click on validators, last link on the list. And, I've got a ton of guides and tutorials, and I've covered like literally every question and if I don't have the question answered in a video, I have the question answered on the FAQ on the website, which you can go to tinyurl.com and go to go validate, tinyurl.com/go validate. They'll take you to the landing page, give you an introduction to all this stuff. And then the code itself is, where's the code? I'll get into some specifics here in a second, but yeah, you can go to the scripts, and this is the GitHub, and it's got all the stuff, and I've got it all documented. And if you go down to the FAQ section, again, I got all these questions. I feel like I've answered them on stream and in text a lot of different times. So well documented. If you want to be a validator, and first of all, make sure you know Linux, or are willing to learn and put in the time before you start doing it, because you're going to struggle and it's not going to be fun. And you're just going to be asking a lot of questions. People are going to, there's not a lot of support out there. I don't do paid support or anything. Maybe some people in the ecosystem still do, but it's really, you got to prepare for that if you're going to do it. But all the information's there. That's the part. If you have all the information, it's all there. If you can put it together, if you can learn enough to put it together, like you can totally be a validator. You can do it in the cloud. You can do it at home, whatever you want. But let's start with the history real quick. History lesson. So, just the history of mining, staking, validating super briefly. Bitcoin mining in 2009, right? Like I started around there. Basically secure the network by decentralizing the power to process transactions, move coins around, all that stuff. Proof of work miners race to be the first to solve math puzzles, add the next block in the blockchain, get rewarded tokens, waste a lot of electricity, get centralized with pools, mining companies, specialized hardware, all that stuff. Necessary evil, of course, in a lot of different ways. Tons of people have tons of opinions back and forth, but generally speaking, like that's the gist of that. Since then, between mining and what we have today on Ethereum validating, there's been a ton of different mining algorithms and staking algorithms and DAGs and different ways to play games to run a decentralized network that just transfers value from person to person, or runs unstoppable code, all that stuff, smart contracts. So then you get to Ethereum. Again, Ethereum used to be proof of work. Now it was like hybrid and all this stuff, and now it's proof of stake. Ethereum 2.0. That's what PulseChain is as well. You secure the network instead of doing the math problems and stuff. You secure the network again to move coins around, but you also validate transactions, run smart contracts, create new tokens, all kinds of fun stuff. So it takes an economic angle. Again, instead of using a bunch of electricity to solve these complex math, crypto problems, all that stuff, it takes an economic angle of these are just games that are as airtight as possible. Nothing's perfect, but they lay the foundations to make it possible to run something that appears, at least as a decentralized network, for value transfer. And appears meaning there's a bunch of different levers and parameters, stuff you can change to make it more or less fun or cool in different ways. But the economic angle is they put up a stake, basically make a deposit of the native chain's tokens, 32 ETH or 32 million PLS, and they lose it if they become a bad actor or generally unreliable, can't do the work on the network and stuff like that. And validators are selected at random to propose blocks to test validity, do other tasks to run the network, different kinds of rewards. Again, I have them, I love them documented as well. So there's trade-offs with centralization in different areas, barrier of entry, energy consumption, how you prefer security to be done with each. But generally, that's kind of like the like 2 minute, where we started, where we're at kind of thing. So with the yield opportunities of PulseChain, again, we went through the mining, staking, publishing, Hex.com, that is the premier product of PulseChain for yield and for yield bearing assets where you stake it, you earn more Hex, all that stuff. There's a bunch of different other coins you can stake and do games with too. LP yield farming, leverage lending, borrowing, all that stuff. And a bunch of, again, other sub games have their own risk rewards. Some are very high, some are very low. There's some games that are so high risk where I'm just like, oh, I don't trust this contract. It's been audited. The percentages look crazy. I'm not sure if I want to participate in that game. And there's some that are just so low reward where I'm like, it's not even worth me putting up the coins. Like I don't even want to participate because, whatever time frame I decide, it's not even interesting enough for me to earn enough for it to be worth the time to participate based on the capital that I want to put into it. So there's 100 100 different options for that around the landscape. Again, you got to check if it's audited, respected protocol. Are they going to be around for a while? What are you earning? Is it going to be worth money in the future? All that stuff. And this could change from time to time. Sometimes protocols have very high yield and some have lower yield, and that could change, fluctuate. New farms get added. Some of these are like literally timing opportunities too. If you choose to participate in that, you don't have to. But the validator portion is where it's, I'll pull up the page 2 on GoPulse. We'll go to validators. Oops, what's the bridge? The validators piece is interesting because you're not just putting up tokens. You are putting up tokens, but you're also helping secure the network. It's like the most pure utility form of yield that we have out there is being a node on the network, being a validator to help the network run and get paid to do it. So as you can see, the APR, even this APR, I would take with a grain of salt. It's probably more like 5 to 8%, just purely estimating. And the more validators come online, the bigger the pool is, lower the share, the more validators you need to have in order to make a dent in it. But this is one of the pure utility ways to earn yield in the ecosystem. And again, you're helping secure the network, you're making sure it runs, you're locking it up. There's a lot of good things about it, why you would want to become one. But again, the barrier of entry is you need to know how to run a server. You need to know some basic networking. You need to run Linux. I have playlists, I make content. There's a lot of stuff. I did Linux AMAs. I think I have all the content any person would need who knows how to use a computer and wants to spend the time and effort to do it. Again, I don't offer services to help. I just produce the content and put everything out there to make sure it's as accurate as possible. But this is how you do it. You would get a piece of hardware. I'll just go through. So the landing page is, I'll put it in the comments, tinyurl.com/go validate. Which just points to the blog. So step 1, got to have the hardware, minimum requirements, or use the cloud. I got guides on how to use the cloud. I got guides on a bunch of different stuff. I personally run mine in the cloud because there's advantages. I've talked about that a million times as well. I have references and stuff on the wiki and videos too, comparison. You got to install Linux. And then, so the thing is, you can either follow a guide or you can run a script and then follow, a script that does most of everything, like 85% of it, for example, and then use a guide for the rest of it. So there's a bunch of different guides out there, a bunch of different scripts. I like mine. A lot of good ones out there though too. And again, run the script, set up the server, generate your keys. Again, all this is like step by step, and I have very detailed instructions on how to do all this stuff. And this is the video that a lot of people use to basically explain how to do all of it and like what does it mean? What does it mean, and all the pieces for it too. So Ethereum versus Pulse, like why would you want to do Ethereum versus PulseChain? So you got 32 ETH, which is, it's like 80 to 100K at current value. So to become a Ethereum validator right now, it's a lot of money, right? You kind of priced out. Most people are priced out. Not a lot of people are going to put up, 100K to do one validator. That's just one. So you can have multiple validators per server. You could have 10, you could have 100, whatever. So to put up one, if you want to put up 10 on Ethereum, that's $1 million. You could have $1 million to run 10 validators on Ethereum. 800K to $1 million. PulseChain, if you look at the stats website here, it's around 4K per validator. So, you want to run 10 validators, it's around 40K. So much more affordable to get in here, a fraction of what it takes to get into Ethereum. And if you believe PulseChain is like being early in Ethereum and there'd be price appreciation, that's both good and bad in a way. Good problem to have, right? Price appreciation. So you have PulseChain token, it goes up 10x. Well, now you've 10x your money, right? It goes up 100x, you've 100x your money. To become a validator, if the price goes up 10x instead of 4K, you're looking at 40K. Goes up 100x, 400K. It's huge difference. You don't want to talk about it if it goes up 1,000x. Only millionaires or only early people in PulseChain, if that's the case, if you had it beforehand, if you were early validating, could actually run their own validator. And they'll be, this year there's different, Alex from Hedron, I think he's talked about doing a Rocket Pool fork, which is like delegated staking, where you just put up some, I believe you just put up some Pulse and you're able to earn through the pooled validating basically type stuff. There's other community projects and stuff going on too. But to be an actual validator, to run your own server and to validate and get 100% of the profits, for example, instead of just being a portion of the pool, that's the price goes up. A lot of people are going to get priced out. A lot of people can't afford to get it later, to buy 40K worth of Pulse to run one validator, which, I went through the profitability. I have a ton of like references on that too. It's, well, unless the Pulse price does, 100x or so, 50, 100x, like, running one validator definitely isn't profitable today. And it'll take a while for it to be profitable. Either price has to go up, or, I guess just that. And the only way to change that other than pooled solutions is a protocol change. So if there's a fork of the network, if the PulseChain devs are like, hey, it's too expensive to be a validator, and they decide to, change the protocol, release new clients, and then the validators who are there are like, okay, well, I accept that or not. That's how hard forks happen and stuff too. Soft forks, hard forks, various anecdotes for that. But again, to do this, and a lot of people, I see them get really excited about validating, and then they don't know, they don't know Linux, so they don't know much about computers, but they want to be a validator. And I love the passion, but it's not good for anyone. For, you to get in over your head. Now you're constantly asking for help, or you're just going to give up halfway through and just waste a bunch of money. Either buying your home server or in cloud hosting or whatever. It is an investment of both time and money to do this. But for me, I think it's been very rewarding. And if PulseChain price appreciates, I think it'll be very, very, not only rewarding, but actually profitable at some point. So again, you can think about it being an early Ethereum validator. Those guys had to be nerds too. It's kind of a good parallel here. So how much you're earning, I'll go through this because this is a recent post that I did because people keep asking the question. I'm like, I keep giving the answer. It depends. Depends on how many validators you run, depends on the PLS price, depends on how much your monthly costs are. There's a bunch of different factors that go into it. But this is, and again, these are just kind of like estimated numbers. We don't have a lot of information. Hopefully we'll have more information coming out. Again, anyone who sees this, who sees something inaccurate or they have a better idea or whatever, let me know. This is just what I came up with at the time. But essentially, per validator, at current prices, around $27 a month. Maybe let's say $30 a month. And then if you're running 10, you can run 5, 10, 100, whatever. You can get around, let's say $300 a month, $270, $300 a month, whatever. Price goes up, you earn more. Price goes down, you earn less in Pulse terms, as far as, if you're looking at dollar terms, but the Pulse value that's locked up. That's a lot of Pulse you got to lock up to. If you're running 10 validators, that's 320 million Pulse you're going to lock up versus 32 million and so on. So the question I ask here is like, so why is there, if that's not much, right? Because running the server, if you're doing the cloud, you could be paying a few $100s, probably more than this number, let's say. And if you're running your home server, well, you're going to need to buy the hardware. It could be maybe the cheapest end, you could do 500. There's people who sell you validators and stuff for 1 or 2K. They're already set up and do all this stuff. So, it's not going to be profitable for a while, no matter what setup you go with at current prices. So why are there so many validators? Why do we have validators all over the world? Why have 50,000? That doesn't mean 50,000 people. That just means, it's probably like a few thousand people. I'm gonna guess a few thousand people or high hundreds of people running a bunch of different validators on one server or multiple servers. Why are they doing it? Maybe they believe the price will go up. Maybe they believe in the long term it'll be profitable. So yeah, when you're staking it, this is not including the network fee. There's different fees and tips and different rewards you can get from the network. But I'm just saying, it's a pretty conservative example. I even got a comment from Validator Dashboard, who's apparently doing some. I haven't got to see their stuff yet, but hopefully they're building a pretty cool project that I'd like to know more about later on once they get something going. But our data shows a higher amount of PLS per block and does tailored out in monthly earnings. Yeah, I hope so. These are very conservative. I didn't want I don't want to be like, oh, you're going to get rich running a validator. If the price goes up, it could be profitable. It is not profitable right now, at least for my setup. And I don't know anyone who, I guess it's been like 8 or 9 months. So I don't know, maybe some people are profitable. I guess if you did it at home, you could be profitable at this point. But I like using the cloud for it, even though it costs more. Think of it as investment. In the long term, I think price will go up. So that's why I do it that way. So again, I'll drop this in the chat. Again, don't act like these are super accurate numbers, but I think that you've made this joke for less than $1 a day, you too can secure a blockchain network. So make sure you know what you're signing up for. If you decide to become a validator, you understand that, or at least the way I understand it, when I signed up to become a validator, I know that I could technically do it, technically sound. I know Linux, I can set this stuff up. I'm okay managing my own server, all that. And, I'm okay at being an investment. I'm okay it not having ROI right now, because I believe price will go up and all that stuff. You guys believe whatever you want. And yeah, really, for me, that was kind of my project, my calling was like, this is something intellectually interesting to me. I think I can make money later on with it if I treat it as an investment, and I can provide value to the community by going the technical side, figuring out all these problems, answering all these questions, in my free time to help people, again, help the community, help the network, help PulseChain be successful. You get more people interested, more people who are aligned and have skin in the game. That's a good thing. So yeah, I skipped a lot of the technical part. Again, I have the entire guide. I have how to become a validator. I have the landing page kind of talks you through just a little bit of the just what to expect and sort of highlights. And then I have the entire wiki. I have the script that, again, automates a ton of the stuff. I estimate, remove 85% of the manual stuff from it. You still got to do a little bit of manual stuff afterwards, but it helps you get mostly set up with it. And there's different helper scripts and stuff here as well for updating and monitoring and all that stuff too. So there's a lot in between. And there's the various discussions, home versus cloud. I'll just put it in here, like home versus cloud, the different advantages. And I'm not going to go through each one of them. I'll just drop the links in the chat in case you are interested. And the security model, if you're super interested, like I did, somebody tell me if there's another one. I don't think I've ever seen a security model, a map of the security stuff for even Ethereum validators. And I had to watch so many videos and slow down and listen so closely to people talk about this stuff, because it's really hard to get good information about it. So I may be the only person who's actually made it public, made a security model for how to evaluate the risk of an attacker of compromising a node and do this kind of diagram. I think I'm maybe the only one, which is pretty rare. There's a lot of people out there working on this stuff. So I think I'm always happy to make a contribution and stuff with this. And then I did a poll to what people struggle with the most with running validators. Linux, a good portion of people struggle with the Linux part, entering and exiting. So you enter the network and you can also exit the network. So you enter, put down your deposit, exit, you get your deposit back, and your node goes offline. Validator goes offline, node, validator, whatever, kind of use them interchangeably. And key generation is a very important part. A lot of people may get stuck through that. And then maintenance, surprisingly, a lot of people confused about maintenance, which honestly, that's the easiest thing of all these, which is a good thing, right? If people are confused about the easiest thing, that's an easy win. Because if you go down to the FAQ and you go down to maintenance, there's only 2 things. One of which I haven't been able to test my script to do. I have a script in here to do it for you. I haven't been able to test it because mine hasn't needed it. And it's been 9 months or so. So I'm sure it'll need it in the next few months, I would say, but it's funny how to run it. And the client's like, not necessary. You got to wait. I'm like, man, I've been waiting a while. I would like to test the script. I'm pretty sure the script works, but it's funny. I have to wait. So before the blocks, fill up so much to even test it. And then keep the clients up to date. That's the only other thing. There's a script to help you do that. So, and how do you know if that's going to happen? You'll see it on Twitter. If you follow Richard, I'm sure he'll announce it. The PulseChain devs, they'll announce it. you'll see it if you're looking for announcements every once in a while. And most updates are not critical. Like, you don't need to update every single time there's a new version, in my opinion. I'll say it like this: everyone do whatever they want. I do not update every single version as soon as it comes out. So even that is kind of relaxed, unless there's a critical update or they change a parameter or whatever. And then, yeah, I'll just go over a couple. Ooh, actually, no, I don't have time to go over a couple other. I will talk about the Learn Linux basics real quick, because I think that's super important and a very easy win. So if you just go to, there's a playlist here. There's different commands. I actually need to post on here the playlist. Let me do that real quick. Sorry, gonna drop off soon. Here's this Linux playlist. There's a guide. Yeah, this one. There's a guide on how to do this stuff, or a playlist of different videos. Yeah, so if you look at this playlist, this one is really good. You go through the first 5 or 10 of them just to practice with command line, but it is essential to be a validator. So that is the source of yield in the ecosystem, that's a major thing that I like to keep up with